Okay, we have to continue, but to to have a straight flow, we have to start on the bottom line of page Kufchov Beis. There he said, the Rebbe is saying that the mochin also affect beetle in the midas. We pointed out beetle in the midas is contrary to the nature of midas completely, and yet the mochin have that effect. Clearly, this is not by convincing the midas to accept beetle because it's contrary to their nature. And so the Rebbe says in the bottom line, "V'zehu," and that is kasher hamidas einam b'his gabros. That is when the midas are not b'his gabros. The midas do not present their full presence. They are submissive. Oz ha-mochin pe'elim b'ma-beetle. Then the mochin effect in the meter is the beetle element. What does that mean? If they pay the effect in the midas the beetle element. If we say that the midas are already not with his gabrus, what is the additional inyan that the mochin apoyel in the midas didn't have beetle? So the Rebbe says on the next page, "V'hainu," which means shehein k'moi kelim el hamochin, that the midas at that point are like kelim to the mochin. Keli is a unique type of relationship with the oir. Well, thank you very much. Let's discuss the inyan from Kelim for a moment. I mentioned many times, we have a cup of water. This water can be in a pail. The pail also allows you to transport water from place to place. But we do not refer to the pail as a keli for the water. A cup is a keli for the water. What's the difference? Water has a deeper and more significant presence than being to be able to transport it from place to place, or even to throw it on the ground. That has to be further elaborated, but in essence, water, as it relates to the human being, has a very special relationship. The human being directly depends on water, and he takes in water directly as water, not via some other medium, like through having watered the ground, the field, and now we have wheat grown. Directly, he needs water. Not that he needs water, but that is one of the most important means of sustenance for the human being. To feed this water to the human being has to be fed in the human manner, which means that the water assumes at that moment, instead of being an open field, an open sea, or a lake, it's in its own abode, in its own world. The water at that point is transported and translated in being serving the human being. This is when it comes into a cup. Water in a cup is water in its keli. The keli reveals in the water this phenomenal significance of water. That water is not just a wild flow on its own in the world, but water actually presents itself to the human being for the purposes of human consumption. The Keli, this is not new to the water, but the Keli reveals this quality in the water. In order to reveal this quality in the water, the Keli has to be a suitable Keli. As such, it has both qualities. On one hand, it can hold water. On the other hand, it holds water in a very limited and defined manner that is suitable to be served to the human being. This Keli that is so designed has an element of beetle inherent in the Keli. It is not just there holding water. And at the same time, it relates to water, which is an entity unto itself. But it reveals in the water this phenomenon, this important element in the water, that it really wants to serve the human being. The Rebbe says that when mochin come together with midos, mochin are in a different world than midos. Mochin strive to a bigger reality than midos. To the point what mochin be'etzem, as you said, bitul. Mochin are be'etzem bitul. They're not even seeking to be a worldly presence. They seek to be a godly presence. Yet, midos, if they have this element of softness, they might be his gabrus, they can begin to appreciate, to be affected by this supreme quality of the mochin. And then the midos submit themselves to the mochin in a manner that they become kelim ala mochin. They now become the conduit, the transporters of mochin into the world. And what aspect of mochin do they transport? The essential aspect. Mochin be'etzem, the bitul element. They see that mochin seek a superworldly reality. The midos then become kelim for that quality of the mochin, a bitul, and that brings that quality into the world. And that is, the Rebbe says, only if the midos are not behis gabrus, if the midos do not stand, so to speak, on ceremony, on their own intent of who I am, but they have a little submission. The submission allows them to sense, hey, there is something greater over here than your own experience, despite the fact that this is who you are.
That's a kind of intelligence embedded in the midah.
Right, and this we'll see. The midas are not behis gabrus. These not behis gabrus will be discussed yesterday or whenever it was, and now we'll kind of complement it.
I mean, not being Gabrus.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not ready for the question. Let's go to the top of page Kuf of Gimel. V'hainu, which means to say, Shehei k'moi kelim al hameichin. That the midas are, at that point, like kelim to the meichin. Again, kelim means that despite the fact that they're separate entities, but they try to fit to be receptacles for the moichin. And not be his gabros means they don't stand on their own definition, but they try to fit and kind of accept the moichin. I want to hear what you have to say. An interesting expression, k'moi kelim al hameichin, like kelim to the meichin. That does not say straight out that they are kelim al hameichin. It says k'moi kelim al hameichin. Because in fact, midas do not have the full understanding of what moichin has, but they are receptacle like kelim. They're affected by the presence of the moichin, even though they remain something different, midas. The REBBE explains, the kasher ha-midas hein behis gabrus, for when the midas, while the midas are behis gabrus means presenting their own strength in their own presence, lashon gvura, presenting who I am, self-respecting, then it is impossible for the moichin to affect a beetle, the beetle in the midas. The beetle. Why the beetle? Why not beetle plane? The answer is, we are talking about a special quality of beetle. We're not talking about just to subdue the midas, force them to act in a certain way. Ha-beetle means the sense and the experience, the appreciation of beetle, appreciation of what beetle brings along, appreciation of the godly element that beetle brings along. This is a very special effect. And that is transmitted both to the midas as a result of them being like kelim. They become receptacles, so to speak, for the moichin. And that can only be if they're not behis gabrus, if they not stand up and say and pronounce their own being, their own purpose. If the midas are behis gabrus, then it's impossible that the moichin should affect in them the beetle of that moichin carry, that moichin have, not plain beetle. Clearly, we can elaborate more on this, but I will stop right here. Ki, rather only, kasher einam behis gabrus. Only when the midas are not behis gabrus, they come forth with a certain softness and a certain weakness inherently, and then they become open to be affected by the moichin. What does all that mean? The hine, behold, the effect of moichin on the midas, comes in two manners. Or either but they affect a weakness in the midas, but they hold the midas at bay, so to speak, And they tell the Midas, hold it. Before you act, ask me what the right way to act is. Don't take full control over here. Chalishus. This is from the chitzenius aspect of the mochin. That the mochin, chitzenius aspect of the mochin. What means chitzenius? And the Rebbe explained, this is the mochin aspect, that actually pertain to the midas. Well, the mochin, the whole unit of the mochin is that they explain how midas should behave. The ha'oras ha'mochin musa b'hamidas. Where the ha'ora of the mochin, the ha'ora, the implication, the message, and the so to speak, the justification of the mochin musa b'hamidas is comprehended in the midah. The midah recognizes, yes, indeed, to go wild in my own path is not the right way. Let me ask and get the guidance from the mochin. What is the right way to do what I want to do? Whereby the chalishus, the weakness and the softness in the midah, chalishus, weakness. Weakness means that the midah does not stand on its own perspective. I don't want to know anything, I just want to know myself. No, it says no. It softens up. It weakens. It wants to have it wants to do midah, but it wants to do it according to the guidance of the mochin. To conduct itself according to the guidance of the mochin. This is one state, one level of effect of mochin on the midas. To summarize it, that the mochin give the midas a sense of the rightfulness that they should listen to the mochin. This is due to their own, to a weakness in themselves. In other words, I don't want to follow my own path. I want to be guided.
It's more than weakness, it's a kind of intelligence.
Intelligent enough to know that to go wild on your own path is not correct. But the path is that you need the mochin. But in general, let's put this in perspective. Actually, you asked the question. Midas relate to world. We spoke many times. If we allowed the world to guide us through its pathways, we would be ending in a confused reality. Let's say you're going someplace. So, oh, there's a street over here, let me go this way. There's another street over there, go this way. There's another street over there. You can't go in circles. Who knows where that's going to lead you?
Queens.
So
you translate Queens in Brooklyn. Make Brooklyn as confused as Queens. You cannot allow the world guide you.
right, but we're also saying the midah senses its own lacking, or it.
No, I'm coming to that.
You cannot let the world guide. You cannot let a midah guide you, but midah per se wants to be the guide. No,
No.
it is what it is.
The guide for us is the word from the Rebbe. We can imagine all kinds of different things. Our best guide is to follow the way the Rebbe presents it. The mochin affect the chalishus in the middle.
Oh, they cause the chalishus.
They bring out, they cause the chalishus. They can cause chalishus in middle only because middle has that element in it. If it didn't have an element, wouldn't cause it. But it brings out the chalishus in middle. V'zehu b'chinas chitzonis hamechin. But this is the effect of chitzonis hamechin. What is chitzonis hamechin? V'hainu, that is hamochin hashayochem al hamidus. Chitzonis hamechin is the mochin that pertain to midus. What does that mean? Why is this chitzonis hamechin? This is not new to us. Because the etzem hamidah hamochin, this is the way mochin relate to their source. This is what mochin themselves tend to on their own. But then there is chitzonis hamechin. How mochin fit into the world. This chitzonis hamechin, this is how mochin can communicate with the midas in their world and direct them in some how you're supposed to behave in the world. But this is only chitzonis hamechin. This is not the etzem hamechin. The etzem hamechin, I must put this in. The etzem hamechin is in the background of this. Why should I? What convinces mochin to know to seek the proper way of behavior? Because mochin, in essence, are mochin. Right and wrong is an essential ingredient in mochin. Because mochin come from a higher source, from a divine source. And therefore, if mochin are acting, they have to be acting according to the principles of what they stand for, what they represent, of the divine source. But chitzoni hamechin. This is the draw off the superficial view of mochin is that they give guidance how do you behave in the world.
Again, and a meter will take that guidance. You're just saying it does, or because it has a level of intelligence, or you're not going there?
Okay. How does the mochin affect the midas in this sense? It has an element, and it's called a halishus. We discussed the scene before, on top of the page, it said kelim al hamechin. We discussed the principle of kelim. Midas are kelim al hamechin. We use the model for that as the brain, the keli for mochin. Which is where we got a certain clarity of das in it.
So a meter, if a meter is called a keli, then it's really looking to and suited to what it contains. What it just forgoes its own agenda, its own identity.
The keli does not create the oil. The keli is affected by the oil because it senses the oil. I think. Okay, let me bring it back. How the big phenomenal breakthrough is moyach, the physical moyach, understands and gets intelligence. How can a physical material get intelligence? So we said because this physical materials is so constructed of soft tissue, so to speak. This soft tissue is sensitive to the effect of oil haseichel. Not even the koyach, it's not being forced to, koyach being forced to it. The oil, the illumination is already affecting it because of the softness of that material, of the tissue. The similar in human saying the midas are like kelim to the mochin. That is due to the inherent softness in the midas themselves. Now, preempting the question, but this will need to put our mind together and try to understand what this is about. Where does this softness come from? Why does the moich have a soft? Oh, the moich, you say it's made of a material, it's made that way. But what does it stand for? Why doesn't moich want to be a physical entity, stand on its own? Why are the midas inherent contained in from chalisha, the possibility of chalishus? Why not stand on my own? The secret to this phenomenon is that all of these entities, the kelim themselves, the father are the only kelim, they're physical material. All of it, the physical material and the keli aspect, everything, all of that is a creation, a divine creation. They don't have a source of their own, a presence of their own. They don't create themselves. Their divine creations are such, they carry along, wherever they end up, wherever they go, the principle that they are not self-creating, but that they were created. Now please understand what is the difference, the principal difference between having been created or self-creating. Self-creating means that I'm standing completely in my own mitzias. And my home mitzias, my presence is based on what I identified, what I identified for myself. To say that I'm here to serve something else is totally an anomaly. I don't even know if there's anything else existing. A creation is part of the, automatically participates in the entire phenomenon of creation. When you come to shul, and there are hundreds of people there, you don't ask the question, where did all these people come from? I didn't invite them. The shul invited them, just as it invited you. You come to the shul because the shul invited you, and they come to the shul for the very same reason. The shul is much greater than inviting you along. Therefore, even though you are unto yourself and you want to have your own seat and you want to have to be recognized and given a place and said, excuse me and please and so forth, but at the same time you accept an element of beetle, an element of chlishus. You are not the only entity over here. Yes, indeed, it's possible that somebody would inadvertently give you a push. and you will accept it without even as much as letting him know that you got pushed. This is because this is due to the recognition that there is the greater reality that encompasses the entire reality, the entire being. This is inherent in everything that was created, including midas. And due to the fact that the midas and everything in the world, the midas, have inherently this inyan, that they recognize that they should be responsive to whatever comes to them, to mochin or whatever it is. They're not isolating themselves into their own mitzias. And if there's mochin that talks to them, they listen. So chitzonius ha-mochin. Mochin come to the midas and say, there is a way to behave. And the midas says, yeah, tell me about it. Why do they say that? Because they're in the same, they participate in the same truth that mochin are. Not at the mochin level, but in the same truth. And therefore, ha'oras ha-mochin musag b'hamidos. Therefore, the ha'ora of the mochin, not the etzem ha-mochin, but the ha'ora, the right and wrong element that mochin speak about, is musag, is comprehended in the midah. Like we said before, the midah, or being in the world, if you say, listen, just to run wild is not a proper way to participate in the world. Therefore, there is an inherent element of intelligence. But this is not intelligence on a par with the mochin. This is intelligence on its own level. What is right for me? Mochin have intelligence to understand an objective truth. Midas are not claiming that. But they understand in their own little world that there is right and wrong.